If I haven't mentioned it enough times already, I am a media ethics major. And one of the things we talk about in a lot of my media ethics classes is the psychology behind disgust, and how disgust is a very unique, quote unquote, negative feeling because it requires you to engage with the work to overcome it. The only true way to cure disgust is exposure therapy. You must be present for what disgusts you for you to figure out why it disgusts you and to unwork those feelings if you feel like you have to. The reason that disgust comes up a lot in my media ethics classes is because disgust is what makes people feel certain ways about things portrayed in media, specifically transgressive fiction or taboo fiction. And people equate disgust with what is morally right or wrong to depict in fiction. The problem with this is that all disgust is not created equal, and disgust itself is not an actual reason to dislike something or to ban something. To decide if something is actually, right or wrong to show in media, your reasoning can't just be because it grosses me out or because I'm uncomfortable. Those are not valid reasons to justify anything. Those are personal preferences, especially when you're looking at, like I said, transgressive fiction, horror, etc. What makes one person uncomfortable is probably what makes one person feel safe, or what makes one person feel safe might make one person feel triggered, and therefore you cannot use your personal bias of disgust to determine anything. In greater conversations about ethics and morals, the concept of disgust comes up as well because, again, because it's gross is not a real reason to do anything, to hate anything, or any of that. Grossness is according to the eye of the beholder. Grossness is often what the oppressors tell us is gross, especially in a place like fiction where nothing is actually happening to anyone. The concept of disgust being used to ban or censor is often used by the oppressor, almost exclusively used by the oppressor, to silence the voices of those they find disgusting, typically minorities, typically queer people. So next time you find yourself uncomfortable or disgusted with a piece of media for X, Y, or Z, try to actually evaluate why and come up with a reason that is not just because it's gross. A lot of film discourse on Twitter and TikTok has been reduced to that's gross, that's icky, that's otherwise. And that's not helpful because when you reduce it to that's gross, you don't get to actually talk about what the problem is or if there's even a problem in the first place. Because it's gross will never be a real argument because it's the argument almost exclusively used by oppressors and never people that want to engage in good faith or have academic discussions about media. So remember, next time you do feel disgusted or uncomfortable by something, try to think about why. Try to do research about why. Try to actually sit on what is uncomfortable about it, why you as an individual are uncomfortable, and if that is an individual problem versus a societal problem. But these deeper conversations cannot happen if you are working with disgust first. So you have to unpack your disgust. So unpack your disgust and then come back to me.